Yo, what's happening? It's BenjaminDeSouza here, the warlord, back with another classic. And I want to speak about a conversation that I had the other night on Game Changer 00100's panel. I forgot the name of the stream, but it is the newest one, the latest one that is of January the 24th or 25th, I believe, May 24th leading into the 25th, 2020. And it was a long stream, like 10 hours. Like they were rocking. Like when I hopped off, I fell asleep, woke up, looked back on YouTube, and they were just shutting down. I'm like, damn, y'all motherfuckers was going. It was a de facto marathon, man. But I'm gonna have to go back and review the parts that I missed. But as far as it pertains to the conversations that I was a part of, there was one particular conversation that I find very pertinent and relevant and should raise a lot of concern for the brothers of SYSBM, because it is a particular narrative that I think deserves further investigation and examination. You know, we do need to get to the bottom of these things because, you know, I question people a lot when they get on these panels because people they disseminate their ideas and their thoughts, whether these ideas and thoughts are grounded in some semblance of knowledge or ignorance and or skullduggerous and misleadingness, if that's even a word. So, you know, this is just me doing my part as a, a knight of the SYSBM order, dispelling some of these whack-ass, lame-ass, fuck-ass talking points. In any event, there's a particular gentleman by the name of MGTOW Flight, emphasis on MGTOW, and I find it strange that a lot of these MGTOW guys are finding their way into SYSBM spaces and SYSBM panels and whatnot, and trying to, shape shift and try to fly under the banner of SYSBM while still trying to fly under the banner of MGTOW. And you know, you can't rep two sides like that, bro. It doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. But I find that strange, and then when these guys hop into these conversations, they want to try to equate SYSBM to MGTOW. You know, well, SYSBM is just another version of MGTOW. You know, if you guys had just just followed the tenets and followed the philosophies of MGTOW, I mean, there would be no need for SYSBM. You could have just been MGTOW from the beginning. That lets me know right there that these particular brothers aren't they aren't concerned with the actual message of said school of thought. They're more concerned with aggregating power and control over the minds of people. You know, because if it was just about the message, then it doesn't matter whether we call it MGTOW, SYSBM, or IBMO. It doesn't matter what the fuck we call it, as long as we're doing it right. That's the idea, right? It doesn't matter if a man calls himself a MGTOW if he's going MGTOW, right? I thought the purpose of this was to make as many, as to quote unquote red pill as many brothers as possible to get everybody up to speed so we can, you know, try to get rid of some of this fuckery that's about. That's what I thought it was about. But now motherfuckers are more concerned with pushing their brand, you know? But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. But this particular gentleman, MGTOW Flight, he said some how you say very disingenuous things in this live stream, and I'll get to that in a moment. But he tried to use certain articles and whatnot that you can reference and trace via the internet to bolster his argument. And when you examine these when you examine these articles, you find that they don't exactly line up with the picture that he was trying to paint as it pertains to this particular narrative that he was kicking. And instead of just falling on his sword and saying, you know what, maybe I don't have all the information on this particular topic, maybe I don't know anything, maybe I should go back to the lab and do further investigation before I just go full throttle in propagating this particular narrative. No, what he in turn did was double down on it and go back and pull up another article. It was 3 articles he referenced. 2 you can find, the third you cannot. It's a phantom article. All right, it's a phantom article and whatnot. Like I searched for it, you can't fucking find it. But I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, it just raises questions, you know, for me. I would like to know what this guy MGTOW Flight's what his motives are and what his intentions are, if he can make those plain, because from what I see, as far as the gross and how you say blatant inconsistencies within his narrative, one would have to surmise that he has an agenda, and it might not be as on the up and up as you might perceive it to be. But who knows? That right there, his agenda and whatnot, that's all speculative, so I won't go too far into that. But, you know, listen, man. Listen. This is the prince and the warlord here. All right? I'm not for the fuckery. I'm not finna sit back and just let motherfuckers get away with kicking a whole bunch of sucker shit and just let them think they're gonna just mosey on up out of this motherfucker unscathed. No, you come into these spaces talking some fuck shit, putting fuck shit in the minds and the ears of young brothers out here, I will take a pound of flesh out your ass. Period. Period. Straight up. Listen, man, if you're into the esoteric or the pseudosciences and whatnot, listen, like astrology and whatnot, the horoscopes and numerology, my life path number is number 5. If you know anything about numerology, the number 5 life path means that you are an investigator, an investigator. This shit is natural for me. This shit comes natural. If you say something, I'm gonna have 2, 3, 5 highly scrutinizing questions to make you qualify the shit that you said. And if you can't provide an efficient answer to said questions, then we all can conclude that you are full of shit. Anyway, just to give you some backstory before I decimate this sucker lade's argument, he said something to the effect, he brought up how it might not be such a good idea. It was a fear-mongering tactic, but he said it might not be such a good idea to go down to Brazil because Brazil has instituted new child support laws that a woman who is pregnant can finger a potential father, whether he be a Brazilian national or whether he be a foreigner, i.e., from America, an American. She can finger him, the father, and put him on child support before the child is even born. Now, if you know anything about international law, you would know that if you were to pass said law in one country, that could possibly affect another country, citizens of another country. That other country would have to sign off on it. Because if you think about it like this, what sense does, because what we have here in the United States of America is what I like to call the baby mama industrial complex, okay? Where there are many facets of the legislative, judicial system and whatnot, you know, big courts and nonprofits and shit. They all line their pockets and grease their pockets from this baby mama industrial complex machine. You know, big money goes into these family courts. Big money goes into child support. Big money goes into the businesses, i.e., the baby formula, baby clothes, and toys and shit, toy companies and shit. Big money goes into those, powers those industries that comes from child support. So from an economic standpoint, what sense would it make for the United States of America, who profits into the billions from this baby mama industrial complex, what sense would it make for them to sign off on such a draconian Salem witch trial, witch hunt type of law that was put into place by another country? You get what I'm saying? What sense would it make for the U.S. to sign off on some shit like that? So if a gang of bitches in Brazil can just say, I'm pregnant, and they can go on Facebook, or they can just check travel schedules and shit and just see which American citizens traveled into Brazil within the last, you know, months or so that they got inseminated, and they can just finger him and say, he got me pregnant. And then right there, automatically, the Brazilian government can levy a lien and tax the income of that American citizen, when that American citizen income is purpose, its purpose is to go back into the American economy. But Brazil all of a sudden is going to make a law which is just going to bogart its way into the pockets of American citizens, which will inevitably affect the American economy. I don't see what fucking sense that makes at all. Just let's say that's true. Let's say that Brazil has instituted an international child support law which says that bitches Brazilian bitches who get pregnant can just say, you know, John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith from Scrubberfuck, Kansas got me pregnant. And then before the child's even born, that law states that they can levy taxes or levy penalties against Mr. Smith and put him on child support before the child is even born. Let's say all of that is true. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? Okay. So with all of that said, that article, and this is that particular point right there. That's the phantom article that I spoke of earlier. It's phantom. It doesn't exist. I looked it up. I looked up Brazilian international child support law. You will not find anything that lines up with that particular bullshit ass narrative that he was pushing. So he just made that shit up and pulled that shit out his ass. But, and you know, with that said, that is you know, hold on real quick. But then he went further and said, well, you know, the United States, they're levying child support liens against brothers who want to travel, and you know these particular countries are okay. What he did was like a cloak and dagger move. The cloak was, you know, he told, you know, throughout that veil, that phantom article. But then here's the dagger. He actually quotes a real article that does exist, but if you're not listening close enough and you can't really read between the lines of what he's saying and suss out the bullshit, you might associate this article, this actual article that exists, with the narrative that Brazil is gonna come and, you know, put you on child support and put you on child support before the child is even born. You know, if you're not astute enough, you might fall for that cloak and dagger move. But anyway, the particular article, I'll pin it in the comment section below. But anyway, the article that he is referencing is a United States law issue. It has nothing to do with Brazil laws regarding the matter of child support laws in Brazil. What this article states is what we already know concerning child support laws and travel as it regards to the U.S. So MGTOW Flight was speaking out of ignorance as it pertains to Brazilian international child support laws at best, and being downright disingenuous and misleading at worst. When it comes to matters like this, when it comes to this matter, I should say, I dread it's the latter. I dread, you know, I have strong suspicions that this brother is being disingenuous. You know, he said something that we already know. We already know if a brother here in the States gets too far behind on child support, that they're gonna take your license, right? That's what all these MGTOW are talking about. They're gonna hold your passport, and if you so happen to get out the country and get to another country, they can how you say what's it called? Extraordinary rendition or something, or whatever, where they can come and get your ass up out of that country and bring you back to the United States. Yeah, we already know that shit, man. We already know that shit. So again, that article that he stated is an United States child support law issue. It has nothing to do with Brazilian legislation. Brazil and other countries that he named within this article, they're just gonna play along. They're just gonna go along. They're like, nah, nigga, you know, you owe them motherfuckers money for child support. We gonna ship your ass back. We gonna hold your passport. We gonna put you in a holding cell until motherfuckers can come and get you. You know. And then he used another fear tactic, talking about Brazilian prisons and rapes and shit that go on in Brazilian prisons. Like, well, you don't want to go to jail in Brazil. You don't want to go to jail in Brazil. This dude is a sucker laid, man. Sucker, bruh. This is nothing personal, my brother. If you listening to this presentation or whatever, but yeah, you a bitch ass nigga for that shit, man. Straight up. You is a sucker. But anyway, all those countries he named are countries that you can't run to if you owe the United States child support. It's not those countries taking child support from you. It's the United States taking child support from you. So again, MGTOW Flight is full of shit. He should not be taken seriously, and he is not an authority as it regards these matters. Lastly, he brought up another article. And the basic premise of this article is it's the the Dominican Republic working in concert with the state of New Jersey. Ironically enough, I know Dominicans who are from New Jersey. There was a Dominican family who moved from New Jersey out to Kansas City, right next door to my mom. So after high school, after I graduated, went out into the world, moved out on my own, come back home, to visit my mom's and shit, and it's a Dominican family next door. And I get, and the oldest son, which was the same age as my younger brother, and he had like two younger sisters that was like a couple years younger than him or whatever. But his younger brother went to school with my brother. You know what I'm saying? And they come from New Jersey. So you talking shit right up my alley, bruh. Matter of fact, you step down the wrong alley, bruh. Some goons down in them alleys in them shadows. But anyway, he framed his narrative behind this article. He tried to bolster his narrative by saying, see, the state of New Jersey is working in concert with brothers who come back to the United States from the DR and who have knocked up chicks down in the DR and they owe child support, in the DR or whatever. The article he brought up regarding the DR and New Jersey, that is the DR attempting to collect child support from Dominican Republican men who move to the United States and neglect their children back home. He framed it in a way to make it sound like Americans going to other countries were the target. This guy MGTOW Flight is full of shit and is not a credible source of information regarding these matters. It's not the state of New Jersey, because there's a high concentration of Dominicans within the state of New Jersey and motherfuckers from the DR who moved to the United States. They moved to New York, New Jersey, that tri-state area or whatever. It just so happens that New Jersey is a hotbed for them and whatnot. So if they're down in the DR before they come up here to the States and they got 2-3 baby mamas and 5 fucking kids and shit, but they try to skip out on all that and just come to the States and get their money up here in the States while their baby mamas back home are being a burden on the country itself, on the Dominican Republican country itself. Yeah, the DR gonna pull the coattail of these niggas who want to move up here from there and try to start anew. No, nigga, you owe back home, bruh. You owe back home. So he framed his weak punk ass argument in a way to stir up fear in the hearts of brothers who are SYSBM and who are aspiring to travel and to see the world. This is a cowardice, nefarious move on his part, and I do not respect that at all. Sir, you have some answers, We demand that you answer for this. You have to answer for this, sir. Okay? Now, Mr. Flight, Mr. MGTOW Flight, if you are willing to get on, make a video or get on one of these live streams and recant all of that bullshit that you was kicking on a Game Changers panel the other night, then, we can see about extending the olive branch to you. But sir, this flagrant perpetuation of this bullshit propaganda will not be tolerated amongst SYSBM. Okay? This is the war. This is the prince speaking. This is my aspect of my personality that I call the prince. This is the prince speaking to you, sir. You know, come now. Let us reason together, okay? You don't want the warlord. You don't want the warlord to get on your ass. So, if anybody knows this MGTOW Flight guy, somebody need to pull his coattail, tap him on the shoulder, and say, hey, some real SYSBM fellas would like for you to come and have a sit down, okay? But yeah, that's all I got. Get up on that.